All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Scary Sundays. I hope everybody's having a great February so far. And today's topic is about being the best at something versus being real. And I was thinking about this because, as an artist and a producer who makes electronic music, throughout the years, I've been a part of a lot of different producer groups where we're helping each other, giving each other feedback on tracks. And there's kind of like this friendly competition, right? Like when you're working on something, like whatever it might be, maybe you're getting certified to teach yoga, or maybe you're in engineering school, or you're trying to be a producer. But when you have a community of people that are all working on the same skills, um, there's this sort of standard based on whatever the skills are, and there's kind of this friendly sense of competition about like who's good at what skills, and oh wow, that guy's so good at that thing, or that girl's so good at that thing, or I wish I was better at this, or this is my strength, this is my weakness. And I think to a certain degree, when you're trying to improve at a craft or skill set, it's healthy to have that. But something that I've been thinking about as an artist, and as continue to kind of distill down what my purpose is, and right now what that is just to be as authentic and real and unique as possible as an artist. Not only because I feel like that's what fulfills me the most, but even from purely a strategic standpoint, the amount of noise and clutter that's out there. The blessing and the curse of the internet age is that everybody can be an artist, which is the good news. But the bad news is that everybody can be an artist. So there's also a lot more competition in a way. And so, even from a strategic standpoint, I feel like the smartest thing you can do is to differentiate yourself, is to try to be as unique as possible, assuming that the music is not like absolutely terrible. But assuming that it's objectively, good music, it's really just about trying to be as unique as possible. At least that's the mindset that I've adopted. And so I was thinking about this a lot because, if I'm being honest, oftentimes, especially if I'm spending too much time on Instagram, or I'm looking at what other artists are doing, or maybe I look at like a DJ or an artist that's playing to like 30,000 people or something, and it can be so easy to start playing this comparison game where you're like, well, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Oh, they're so much better at this, or they have a team or whatever. And it can be so easy to lose sight of the reason that we started doing whatever it is that we're doing in the first place, right? If it's something that truly fulfills us, then most likely we started doing it because there was a seed of inspiration and fulfillment. And I think holding on to that is really important. And I know for me, like, the reason started making music is because I felt like there were songs that changed my life and really helped me out through different times in my life. And I always felt like if I could do that for somebody else, then that's like a good use of a life. That's a good use of my time. And also, I wanted to do something where I could be completely unique and authentic, and um, not be beholden to any sort of pre-existing structure or um, set of rules or guidelines. Otherwise, I could just continue working in the corporate world. So that at least is my mindset. And so, with all of that being said, sometimes when I'm on Instagram and I start comparing myself to other people, I try to remind myself that really it's not about being the best at something outside of yourself, because that is always inherently going to carry with it a seed of inauthenticity. And what I mean by that is, if your penultimate goal is to be the best at some defined thing that exists outside of you, that means that inherently you are playing the game at someone else's level. Like you're inherently playing a game that was created by someone else. You're not fully playing your own authentic game, because you're trying to play by the rules and guidelines and standards that have been set by someone else, right? Like if you really think about what it means to be quote unquote the best at something, like who decides that? If it's not you deciding, then it's somebody else deciding. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with playing that game, but again, just reflecting back on as an artist and as a creative person living in this internet age where there's so much abundance and there's so much opportunity to just express yourself and find an audience, that resonates with that. I'm trying to remind myself that it's not about being the best at anything. It's about being the realest possible version of myself at that thing. And that's kind of the value system that I try to operate on. And, to play devil's advocate to myself and what I'm saying, I think the shadow side of what I'm saying is that this could very easily turn into the territory of like laziness. Like you could just say like, oh well, I'm just like, I'm not playing by anybody else's rules. I'm just going to be unique. And it's like that, if you're not aware, that can give kind of be like a rationalization to not try your hardest. And that's where I think it's not that this approach is devoid of effort. If anything, I think in a way, it takes more effort because not only do you have to try your hardest, you have to try your hardest at being yourself, which is inherently something that hasn't been defined yet. So, versus like if you're just trying your hardest to be the best X thing that already has been clearly defined, then it's like at least the first part, which is figuring out what it is, has been figured out for you. So in a way, it's more challenging, but it's also much more freeing. And I think that's why I just love being an artist so much. And I think that's why whether or not you do quote unquote art for your career, I think that's why we all have this sort of creative impulse inside of us, this desire to express ourselves uniquely in whatever field that we're in. So just something that I've been thinking about. I noticed it because this week I was just spending a lot of time on Instagram, and the algorithm for some reason was like totally fucking me. And like when I released my single on Friday, like nobody was seeing my stories, and I just found myself getting super down. Like what? Like I put so much effort into this song, then I started second guessing. Like, is this any good? Like, is anybody even gonna like this song? It doesn't fit in any genres, and I really like kind of got into like a rut on Friday on the day that it released a little bit. And then I just had to remind myself like I didn't become an artist to play by any predefined rules or boundaries that were set by other people. I expressly became an artist to do exactly what I'm doing. And that's going to come with the fear of the unknown of not knowing if anyone's going to like your stuff. But the reward is freedom to fully express yourself, which is priceless. So, some food for thought this Sunday. Hope you guys had a great Sunday. If you haven't already, go check out Wishing Well. It's out now. It's the first single off my upcoming album, and I'm going to be dropping a new song every single Friday for the next 3 weeks, and then a month from this past Friday, March 4th, my full album comes out. So I can guarantee you guys that my album and all the music that I'm dropping is not the best of any genre that you've heard, but it's as real as I could possibly be at this moment. So hope you guys enjoy it. Peace.